Okay, well, through the years, we've always been fortunate to have good support from our community for a number of referendums. The purpose has sometimes changed, but the support has always been there. 10 years ago, we had a referendum that allowed us to refinance some state retirement debt, which saved taxpayers $1 million of interest. We also had in red a referendum to help us build a new high school. And then we even had operational referendums here in blue 10 years ago. Now, when we paid off the high school, again, we accelerated those payments, which allowed us to save interest for taxpayers. We asked the taxpayers, and they approved, allowing us to use that money for operations if need be. That's what's represented here in yellow. And then these last few years, the operational amount has stayed the same, just as we're proposing for this referendum. Now, when you're budgeting, a year and a half in advance, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen at the state or the federal level, it's difficult to determine how much of the referendum money you're actually going to need. So what we've said to the taxpayers is that, trust us, we'll strike a balance between the needs of our kids and the ability of our taxpayers to pay. And that was difficult at first. We had some people that say, well, boy, if you're given the money, you're just going to spend it. And we said, we'll come back and we'll show you exactly how much we in fact did spend. So this chart, the total bar, the height of it, represents the amount that had been authorized, that we could have spent and taxed. In orange, the color represents the amount that we did not spend nor tax for. So the black represents the amount that we needed to use. And as you can see through the years, the amount has changed as dictated by the needs of our district. However, again, a large amount has not been spent nor taxed for. In fact, over the years, $19.8 million have been authorized. It could have been spent and it could have been taxed. Yet, in fact, over $6 million, $6.2 million, we did not spend or tax for. Now, that amount doesn't necessarily it doesn't roll over to the future years. We've had some people say, why a referendum? Just use the amount that you did not use. If we don't spend or tax for it, then it's not available in subsequent years. Now, with all these numbers, I think it's easy for the message to get lost, that it's about the kids, it's about their needs. And so when we think about these additional resources, and what do they allow us to do, certain things come to mind. One is that it really allows us to target, to know the academic level of each of our kids. In kindergarten, we know where this child is strong and what areas they need to work on and how much growth or learning that they're showing through the years. We know that all throughout the child's academic career. In fact, I think it's interesting, 4 years ago, I was at a meeting of the Dane and Columbia County school districts, and we were putting in our test results, and this was for high school students. And I remember we were projecting them up on the board. Each district is going around, and I'm looking at our results, and I'm thinking, well, we're doing okay. We're about average. But now, fast forward to this year, it's about 6-8 weeks ago now. I was at the same meeting, and we're putting in our results, and I'm near the back. I'm one of the last districts to go. But I see Wanakees, and I see Middletons, and these other districts putting in the results, and I'm smiling. I'm feeling good because our kids are outperforming those districts. Our growth was better than those districts. So these measures, again, possible through the referendum, they're working. Our kids are reaching higher levels. I think another thing that these resources allow for us is they provide more opportunities for our students, more courses for our kids. Here at the middle school, 4 years ago, when we had kids who needed to be accelerated in math, they needed algebra, they were ready for algebra, we'd have them walk over to the high school. And we'd have 4 or 5 kids that would do that each year. This year, at the middle school, 40% of our kids are taking algebra here. In fact, we have a class of students that are taking geometry at the middle school. So our kids are getting those opportunities. We're putting in place partnerships with colleges. We now have a new partnership with UW-Whitewater, Partners in Education, which allows our kids to take college courses at our high school, taught by our high school teacher, and get college credit for them at a substantially reduced rate. They can take a 3-credit political science class for $295 here in Portage. If they waited till their freshman year at UW-Whitewater, that same class is going to cost $1,000. And we also had English 101 that recently got approved. So we have those opportunities. We have a number of dual credit opportunities with Madison College where kids can take those and they get high school and college credit. We also have, we realize that students, they don't all learn the same way or at the same pace, so we have blended opportunities. Kids can get science credit through agriculture classes. They can get math credit through tech ed classes. Again, learning those same skills, but in a modality that best suits them. We have higher expectations for kids. We need to. We know that college and career readiness, it's at a higher level if they're going to be successful beyond high school. So we've raised the bar, yet our kids are reaching and exceeding that. An example, 2 years ago, I believe it was, our ACT scores, we had about 45% of our kids would take the ACT exam. And our average score was about 22.1. But that means 55% of our kids were not taking it. So now, this past year, we had 60% of our kids take it. So we had more kids take the ACT. Most people thought, well, your score is going to go down because those kids aren't as strong as the other students, yet our score has gone up. We're at 22.9. And our goal is for 100% of our kids to take that and to successfully be ready for college and careers. We're above the national average in reading and in math, 2nd through 8th grade, all grade levels. We have a decrease in remedial course offerings. So whether the child's below grade level, we're helping them to reach grade level. If they're at grade level, how do we help them stay there? If they're above, how do we continue to accelerate their growth? And we continue to raise the bar. With the new national standards, Common Core state standards, it's a higher level of expectation, so we're modifying our curriculum to help our students meet that. And we have a renewed focus on math, reading, and technology. Our kids at the elementary level, they get 75 to 90 minutes a day of math. In reading, 160 minutes of literacy. Technology, 21st century skills. We're targeting the skills that they need at each grade level. We're raising our graduation requirements, again, because based on what our kids need when they leave us. So we're going to be instituting 3 credits of science instead of 2, 3 credits of math instead of 2, a personal finance requirement, because we know the stress that can cause on families and individuals if they don't have those skills as well. Now, we always get asked, and I understand why, well, what's going to happen to my taxes? And that's what's, again, so nice about this referendum, keeping it at the same dollar amount. The impact, there's actually no tax impact. Our current tax rate is $10.23. You can see the tax rates for the next 3 years, 1022, 1020, and 1023. In other words, no change in school taxes if this referendum passes. So, in summary, I guess, with all these numbers and all this information, we think these bullet points really boil it down. I don't think most people would agree there's any better investment than in education and in kids and their futures. We've been fiscally responsible. You look at that chart that shows what we could have spent in tax for and what we actually did. That's $6 million that was not spent in our tax. That shows fiscal responsibility. We're not increasing the operational referendum dollar amount, staying at $2.6 million. We've made those tough decisions. No tax increase for the next 3 years. And as Charles talked about, no structural changes for the next 3 years, because we've been asked that. Well, if this passes, are we still going to have to close more schools? Are we going to have significant staff reductions? And we're pleased that we will not have to do that if this referendum passes. It really just boils down to, behind all the numbers, that a commitment to kids. That's what it's all about. That's what we're about. That's what we attempt to do each and every day, is to meet their needs. We thank you for listening to this referendum presentation. If you have any questions, please call the administration building, and we'd be happy to answer those.